Alright, here we go. So this match right here, I do not care about Maxx. I activate Medora right here. My opponent is going to activate his Maxx on the very first special summon that I do. And I basically send with my Medora my Keldo, and then Medora allows me to set Gravekeeper's Trap, and then I'm going to activate Scream right here. And then I use my Gravekeeper's Trap to send the Rainbow Bridge of Salvation. That allows me to grab the Field Spell and then also the Turtle. I already have Rhino Heart in hand, and then I grab Kelbeck as well. So then this allows me to go ahead and grab Havness. And then I'll mill a few cards, and then I'll use this to actually send a card in specific that I want. So I go ahead and fusion summon these two into Kikalos. My opponent is going to draw cards. Now I don't care that they're drawing cards because I'm going to be gaining so much advantage. And then I go Merly, and then Kikalos effect. This will mill a whole lot of the cards. And then I mill more cards here. Mill my Kelbeck. And then Elgato as well. And then I'm going to activate Scream. And then I'll just pretty much stop there. Now I did mill more cards than that, so I could have done more. But for right now, that's all I really want to do. So I go ahead and mill more cards. Let's see what all I hit. So hit a whole lot of cards there. Got a lot of stuff in the graveyard that I can use. So I go Rule Close, special summon negate, some graveyard control here with the Gravekeeper's Trap, preventing them from being able to use the graveyard. My goal here is just to mill as much as possible to try to get Exchange of Spirit in graveyard, so that way the Gravekeeper part of this actually activates. And then I just put Kid Kalos on the field so I can mill more cards on my opponent's turn. And then I bring out Fairy Tale Snow so I can go into Baguska right here. Now Baguska is already a hard enough card for your opponent to play through. And that's the point of me putting it here, is because it puts my opponent's cards into defense and then negates their effects. Of course it puts mine in defense as well, but the key part to this is it negates their effects. So it's hard for them to play and use monsters on the field to build up to what they need to get to, unless they go into link summons. But I can pop their link chains when they start building links with this card, the Polarino. So I sit. So let's look at the board that I have right here. I got Sprite Elf. Sprite Elf can revive a level 2, which could be either Merly, which will mill 3 cards, or Diviner. And Diviner can bring back a Kelbeck or a Guido. And then I could revive and get 5 cards milled from my deck to my graveyard either way using those. So I can do that with Elf. Elf also protects Baguska from being impermed, so they can't target this card. It also protects Rule Close from being targeted. Now, the Rule Close effect won't work because Baguska's on the field, but I'm going to do it anyways, just as a way to kind of troll my opponents a little bit. The Kikalos, if it leaves the field, it'll start milling. The field spell can pop something, and I can always trigger the field spell by just simply using a Kelbeck or a Megiddo, or a Keldo and Megiddo. Scream will also mill cards, so I got a lot going on here. So I type in GG Easy to let my opponent know that they're a free dub. Oh yeah, also in my hand, I got interaction here with Havness, and then I also have interaction with Kelbeck. So I just go ahead and activate this, and then I activate Gravekeeper's Trap right after. They're going to Ash, and I don't really care that they're ashing me. I'm going to activate Crime right here. Crime is going to negate the Ash Blossom, allow me to draw the Medora, and then of course the Rukalo effect wasn't going to work anyways. He summons this onto the field, and it doesn't really matter. Once he summons a monster, it allows me to start milling. So I'm going to mill a bunch of cards. I'm already milling 5 with the Kelbeck, and then another 3 with this one. I only have 10 cards in my deck. My goal is to hit Exchange of Spirit before I start fusion summoning. Or at least mill everything out of my deck and then start shuffling back the cards that I really want in there. So let's see, did I hit it? There it is, Exchange of Spirit. So I hit Exchange of Spirit so my opponent can no longer use their graveyard. I use these to go into window. And then this one will go into Millennium Eyes Restrict. Now there's a lot going on here. He already has one of his Raigekis in his graveyard. Most of the time people only run one Raigeki. If he doesn't have another Raigeki in hand, he's kind of screwed against this board. Because I have a lot going on here. So let me explain, right? So I got the Havness for an interruption during his turn. If he activates a monster effect, I can activate Havness, summon it onto the field, make plays there. I also have shufflers in my graveyard to shuffle back anything in his graveyard that could be a problem, but his graveyard is turned off because of Gravekeeper's Trap, especially since Exchange of Spirit is in the graveyard here. I got Rukalo, which is a special summon negate. Of course, I've already used the effect, so it doesn't really matter. Sprite Elf still hadn't used this effect to revive something, so that's actually a way to stop something. Baguska is going to put monsters into defense and negate their effects. Millennium Eyes Restrict, if he gets rid of my Baguska, he can't activate any more monster effects after that, because I can then steal his monster with Millennium Eyes Restrict. And then, of course, El Shaddai Winda. It's not an activated effect. This is a lingering effect that each player can only special summon once per turn. So Baguska does not negate that part of the effect. So it only negates activated effects. So my opponent just pretty much scoops it up because they cannot play through this board. And it's not even like that crazy of a board. GG's, my boy.